Hi there everyone. So I wanted to cover why the German farmers are in the streets so that you have a better understanding the next time you see a video such as this one. And this video right here is from Eva. She is actually there covering this in person. Her post says, covering the German farmers' protest this week was an incredible, moving experience. To all the farmers, blue-collar workers, and citizens who decided to stand up against the corrupt elites of Germany and the rest of the world, I salute you. Keep up the fight. She does have a lot of great information, and if you are not following her yet, you should probably follow her at Eva VLAAR. And of course, that is on X, formerly known as Twitter. This is from Concerned Citizen, and he says, BBC thinks farmers are now far right. Beyond scandalous distortion of the truth, basically anything right of Stalin is now deemed as far right by the mainstream media pushing the globalist fascist agenda. And I've seen this so many times. What the media is trying to do is trying to paint the protesters in a bad light to make them look like the bad guys so that they lose credibility for what they're trying to do. And we'll dig deeper into that soon, but here we have this from Kristoff, and he says, the comments from conservative posters here are wild. You do all understand that what these farmers are protesting is the reduction of farming subsidies. These farmers want a greater redistribution of wealth to them from taxpayers, a principal tenet of communism. And the crazy thing is that Kristoff here is not wrong. The thing is though that he is leaving something else out. Now Baz says, I don't think they want a subsidy. They don't want their taxes going up. Kristoff says they pay tax at the pump like everyone else. The government gives them a subsidy, money in return to them to offset that tax. Now, however, they are getting rid of that subsidy and the farmers are protesting this. And he is absolutely 100% correct. But if we left it there, that would not be the truth. Hyperbole says taxing the shit out of something and then reducing a little of that tax is not a subsidy. I like what he's saying right there. He is onto something. And we will get deeper into that, but I wanted to go also to another reply from, let's call him Jack. Yes, but the point of these subsidies is making sure farmers can make money in a highly regulated market with high product quality enforced by regulations. This allows them to be competitive with the likes of Ukrainian farms, which can produce much cheaper as they are not bound by the same regulations. Now that is bringing a whole new factor in to this whole protest, and we'll get into that deeper too, but let's continue on. The change to the subsidies proposed will therefore likely cost them their farms, which will be collectivized by large farm conglomerates. Their land will be sold cheap when they will no longer be able to make ends meet. This regulation is only one of many to come, like the fertilizer ban against which the Dutch farmers were protesting. It is all in the name of climate change hysteria and reduction of food production, which will cost farmers their livelihoods and cause starvation in the third world, all part of the globalist depopulation agenda nonsense. Now, Jack made a lot of sense there, but he might have taken it a bit too far. Or did he? Alright, so we covered people's responses and reactions and what they thought, their opinion about the matter from people on Twitter. Let's see what Reuters has to say. And their headline says, there's no more money, German minister tells rowdy farmers. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will leave a link below so that you can do that yourself. I highlighted what I think is more important. This article was written on January 15th, and it says Germany's finance minister Christian Lindner took to the stage on Monday in front of thousands of jeering farmers protesting against tax rises and told them there was no more money for further subsidies. He goes on to say, I can't promise you more state aid from the federal budget, but we can fight together for you to enjoy more freedom and respect for your work. Now, of course, Reuters does want to let you know that the protests do contain right-wing groups. Also says here, the protests erupted after a government decision to phase out a tax break on agricultural diesel as it tried to balance its 2024 budget following a constitutional court ruling in November forced it to revise its spending plans. So that right there is a very big issue, is their spending plans. Let's see what they plan on spending their money. Because I believe that is the reason why the farmers are protesting, not only because they're cutting the subsidies, but what they're planning to spend their money on instead. Linder went on to say scarce money was needed for long neglected investments in schools and roads for the industrial energy subsidies. Jeers grew louder when Linder said money was needed because of the war in Ukraine. And here is where I'm really starting to understand the farmers. They're being taken their subsidies away so that they can give more money to Ukraine. And Ukraine farms are not being regulated as much as their farms, which means they can sell cheaper products, and that now it's going to cost them more to produce this food. And that is why they're protesting. Their livelihoods are at stake here. Let's read on. Complaints ranging from high energy costs to competition from Ukraine grain have driven farm protests around Europe in recent months. On Monday, Romanian farmers protested near border crossing with Ukraine. Now, to show you how really incompetent the politicians are, look at this right here. While some social democrats want to offer higher produce prices, this is to help out the farmers. Hey, Germany, how would you like to pay higher prices on produce? How is that going to help anything? Everybody will be paying more for produce. That is only going to make the problem bigger down the line, and these guys have no clue, no reason for being in politics. I also wanted to play with you this clip. Let's listen in.
And tell us about these reports and rumours that many of these farmers' demonstrations have been infiltrated by Germany's far right.
Well, that's it. The Farmers Union has said it's very concerned to make sure that that isn't the case. They say farmers are just exercising their democratic right to protest, and I'm sure that is true in the overwhelming number of cases. Having said that, as you saw in those clips, a lot of the people supporting these protests, are saying that this goes beyond farming, really. It's about wider issues like the cost of living that's making life difficult for people across Germany. It's about migration. It's about money being sent to support Ukraine. A lot of people are angry. It's easy to see how in that context far-right parties can sort of seek to make ground. Police say that they have picked up some calls by anti-state and populist far-right groups to sort of join these protests and get involved. So that there's concern definitely about that.
It's about cost of living, it's about sending money to Ukraine, and it's about the migration problem. It is much bigger than just the farmers. What they are telling us is not the whole truth. While the left will make you think that it is only about the subsidies being taken away because, they enjoyed them and now they're being taken away, so they're protesting. If it was only that, you wouldn't have so many people supporting them. Everybody is supporting the farmers right now. If the politicians weren't so incompetent, they wouldn't need subsidies. They wouldn't need to raise the taxes to the point that they had to offer subsidies. And the biggest reason why everyone is supporting the farmers is because they know that this movement is much bigger than just the farmers. It affects them and everyone's lives. Sending money to Ukraine not only takes the money that should be going to these farmers, but it also takes away the money that should be going to the schools and everywhere else. And the migrant problem is not helping. It is all over Europe, and I think that you're going to see more and more protests. You're already seeing them in France, Romania, and you're going to see them all over the world. That is all I have for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, found it informative and entertaining. I will see you on the next one.